Let's just going into a little bit of a training based on price action. All right. Now, if you take a closer look here, here's a huge spike, and let me take this off. If we change this into candlesticks, take a look at this huge wig that the market just moved and create right there. This is based on news reaction, okay? So it's driven by emotions and fear, and the market came back and died out without no intention whatsoever, either up or down, okay? Now, if we go back in time, we notice here that where the prices pretty much are on a prior high, that it was a strong resistance point, as you can see it right here. Now, the most important high would be this high right there. And if we go to the right side, we notice that none of the bar throughout the whole day of trading, right, actually took out and closed above the most important price high. What does that mean? The way that I read it is a possible rejection of the top, and the market might sideways from here, okay, and pull back a little bit further down. So right now, what we should do is we go to the 4-hour chart once again and check it out. Warning signal: a top formation or the top movement or momentum might be reaching into an end. Okay, this is how I read it. So I'm going to be standing outside from this market. So I'm going to take it one step further, and let's go to the daily chart. Let's see. Ooh, and what do I see? I see a multiple top formations on a bigger time frames right here, and this is going for wow, since October. So the market retests that previous high, couldn't take it, try to take it, couldn't take it. New lows, you see this important low was taken by this low, so price action is indicating a downward movement coming very strongly into the euro dollar. It looks like the news reactions are trying to recover from what it looks like is going to be a deeper decline on the euro dollar. Let me zoom out and see where we're at. Definitely. Okay, so let's see. This high is an important one coming from this low, so I will start counting my waves from this double formation right here. So it will be wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and wave 5 failing to take the top formation right there. So based on daily charts, definitely one, you can see it clearly here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the market is kind of positioning itself into a possible downward movement on daily charts. So if you were following through based on momentum basis, would be my pivot step on daily. If they break through it, the next upward movement might be towards the downside. And I will definitely measure the top of this formation. So we're talking about a total movement of about 535 points towards the downside from the breakage. So if you have a question, does this works out in such a huge market like the daily chart right here? Let's see. What we're gonna do right now is we're gonna find some important kind of resistance and support. So I got 2 right here. Okay, so sort of just trying to help you out understand. And definitely I would have used, let's see, maybe these 2 guys right there, and the breakage came right in here. Okay, so this would have been the one how I will have called the top formation, and the market break came right there. Okay, that's how I would see it. And then I would have used this support baseline right there. This is kind of how I would have looked at the triangle formation kind of on the most recent movement in this area. Now, when the market just dipped down and start leaving behind this pivot low, I would move it right here. Okay, and unfortunately this is higher than the previous high right there, so I will have to go through here, all right, and through here, and this would be my big triangle. That's where the break of the triangle came about. And definitely, obviously, this is a daily chart. I'm not going to be measuring this with, that's like, I don't know, it's impossible for us to hold that kind of trade in terms of movement. I'm going to start using the most recent swings. So I'm going to be using this swing as a possibility of the first target move from this breakage right there. So we're talking about 357 from the break. It would have been 357. Whoops. There you go. Right there. 78.21. So let's just move up. Let's see if I can see it. Let's see, 78. You know what? I'm going to round it out to 78. And click OK. All right, so that technically is a target that has been provided for us. Oh, all right, just take again this guy right there. And this move on daily chart should reach this area, or looks, you know, the intended move towards that area based on the first level of measuring based on price action here on the triangles. Okay, so let's do that. And as you can see, the target was reached further, a little bit further up, but provided that amount of points based on the price action activity. Now the market just came back down. Now it's doing another stuff. So basically this new analysis on daily chart could play it out on the long term if they break towards the downside. All right, so I'm just trying to make a point across here and teach you the price action and the triangle formation, so on and so forth, works on every time frame. That depends on your bank account and the type of trader that you are. This is obviously this is for position trading. You got to have a huge bank account in terms of being able to sustain this type of trading. But I just want to make, once again, clear enough that you can do the analysis from big time frames and narrow it down so you might understand what's going on. For instance, once again, I see a triangle formation happening, and definitely I will say immediately, since I don't know where they're going, I might say immediately that the daily chart will provide a very hefty move of about 300 points when they break either to the upper side or to the downside. Then they will provide about 500 points further as a next target, and finally another 538. So the average of 530 to 515 or 510 is a most important target based on the movement, whether up or down. How can we identify on if we should consider it a buy or sell? Then we start dropping down the time frames. See how that works? So now I can find a way to identify possibilities based on price action, their intentions, so on and so forth, of what their intentions of the euro dollar is. So for instance, if I start analyzing what I got in front of me, what do you think we have? What is the tendency for the euro dollar? Obviously, I'm going to start analyzing the market from right to left. I see that the highest high is here, but the actual close was not above the previous high, meaning that this could be a rejection of the intended upward movement. I mean, it's not clear enough. I see width apart on the moving averages, so they might try it and close above, and it looks like they probably could go ahead and try to test this high right here on the resistance points area. So I'm just trying to study from the daily chart the lower time frames to see if indeed we can position ourselves into a bigger decline into the future. So based on price action, this is what the intentions are now. But on the most important trend, what is the actual trend? Downward. What is the most important highest high? This guy right there. So as long as the market does not take this high, the tendency for the market to continue to the downside, because the lower lows and higher lows has been kept intact, are still valid. So in this case, I validate what I saw on the daily chart, that based that the market indeed is doing a sideways, a downward movement. Okay, Based on price, on news reaction, fear and greed took emotions into trade here and moved the market a little bit further up here in this area. We were looking for a buy setup based on the moving averages and price action activity that we saw. But the market gave us a few points, but indeed failed to continue and reach the targets that we had, remember? So that failed to reach those targets is an indication of a market failing to continue towards the upper side. See how everything adds up into your thought process of analysis into the market? And then you will go, great. So let's go one step further into the analysis by going into the 1 hour chart. Let's see. And on the 1 hour chart, what do we see right now? You might have guessed it, a sideways situation. So I can perhaps see the market failing to continue to go towards the upper side. The market shoot up, came back down, and died out in pretty much in the same place, and it's kind of sideways. So this it's further confirmed of my daily analysis that is backed up by the 4 hour tendency of the market that I understood. The market is rejecting a top, and right now on the 1 hour chart and even on the 30-minute chart, what we see is a market sideways situation going on. Okay, so a sell setup might be looking good once the market move further past the 36.23, which is an important support base level. Obviously this is an add bonus of knowing these levels, and then we will look for a very nice pivot step system, or a pivot step plus a synergy zone trade setup towards the downside. And if you follow through correctly, we might be able to go short pretty much at the beginning of the continuation towards the downside in a bigger wave towards the daily chart expectancy of the market continuing down. Okay, so here's a full-blown thought process analysis of the euro dollar from the daily all the way to the 30-minute chart. Okay, and this is how I would have applied it. The only thing that I will add up to this is to make sure that the momentum is dying out, and I'll use a 4 hour chart because it's a chart that the big time players use. And when I mean big time players, I'm talking about professional traders. What I mean by professional traders are traders that actually trades bank funds and private clients' assets into the market, not us, we are speculators. These guys are market makers. These are the guys that control and runs big, huge hedge funds that we will try to emulate by following their footsteps. All right, we're not calling the future here. We're just analyzing as they are. Once again, because I've been trained by some of them, but we just wait for them to run, and then we just pretty much get on board with their wave, so we can just ride along with them in a little bit. So here's how I did the whole analysis, and here's the last thought process. Above the 80 level, momentum is dying out. Definitely my analysis has been confirmed. All I have to do now is wait for price action to take control. I hope you learn a lot from that part of full analysis as today's training. Now, last but not least, let me go into the bridge bound.